Cześć, witam Was w podcaście Pierwsza Luźna, podcaście o ludziach, a konkretnie o takich, którzy trenują chwytane sporty walki. Jeśli odcinek Ci się spodoba, zostaw lajka lub udostępnij go dalej. Będę Ci bardzo wdzięczny. Miłego słuchania.
Przedstawienie kolejnego gościa do teraz wydaje mi się totalną abstrakcją. Tym niemniej, moim gościem był boss Akademii Essential Jiu-jitsu, dwukrotny mistrz ADCC, dwukrotny mistrz Panamsów i mistrz świata nogi JT Torres. Gadaliśmy m.in. o jego drodze przez team Lloyda Irvine'a i atos do własnej akademii, o tegorocznych Worldsach, o tym skąd przed przyjazdem czerpał wiedzę na temat Polski i o napieprzaniu w Call of Duty. Enjoy!
Hello JT.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, you?
I'm doing really well, actually. Slightly jet lagged right now,
Okay.
but I'm doing well, man. I'm feeling good. I'm here in Poland, actually, man. I'm here in Poland with you, doing the podcast right now, having a good conversation. Just finished a good training session, so I'm doing great, man. I can't complain.
It's not your first time in Poland, right?
It's not. It's actually my second time.
Second time.
It's my second time, and I probably would have been here a few more times if it wasn't for COVID. You know, I first came here, I think it was like 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think how fast time goes, but I was actually set to come back, and then we had to cancel twice because of COVID and the restrictions of travel and things like that. So I'm happy we made it happen this time around. We're back, better than ever. It's an awesome feeling because I get to see familiar faces, but also new faces as well. And it's always the best part for me, at least traveling, is making new friends and seeing old friends and just keeping those relationships alive.
For the listeners, we are in Otmuchów, in Jarek Chmiel Academy.
Yeah.
It's a branch of Rio Grappling Club, and Otmuchów is like right on the border with the Czech Republic, so the end of Poland, but it's very nice here. You notice that the conditions are like really like old school, like primary school,
Yeah.
you know? And in your career, your club was something similar because it's really cool. It's really good conditions, but for me it's a little bit nostalgic because it used to look like in most places like this, like few years back, and now the facilities are getting better and better and more professional.
Right.
What was your like first facilities where you started to training, or you know?
So me personally, right?
Yeah.
When I first started training, the facilities were very similar to these, right? It was very simple, but yet it had everything you needed, right? Like we see here, you got big mat space, and really at the end of the day, that's all you really need, right? You got a toilet, and you're good to go. So it's like you said, it brings me back to when I first started on my journey, and it's really cool to see that. It was really cool to see that. You know, back home, my academy has, we have a big facility. It's state of the art, modern, and stuff like that, which is also awesome. But like you were just saying, when I come back and train in places like here, it brings me back to when I first started, and it's a really cool feeling. It's a really cool feeling. To be honest with you, simple is more. Simple is best. When you overcomplicate things can get a little tricky. Here, it's at least to me, it seems like a great environment. It's like I said, the bare necessities, which is really awesome.
I always remember the video of GF team, and Rodolfo Vera training on the smallest place I ever seen.
Yes.
Like people under the walls, really, really not a lot of space, and it was like a headquarter of GF team.
Yes,
and it's GF team. It's Rodolfo Vera. So if they could train like this and become on the level like him, everything is possible. So
100%, and that goes to show that it doesn't matter where you train, right? It doesn't matter, and when I say where you train, I mean as far as facilities go. Like as long as you have mats, and as long as you have a good coach and good training partners, you're gonna do great. You're gonna do amazing. So, and like you were saying, an amazing champion like Rodolfo came from a place like that. I think he just inspires others that come from similar situations to rise to the top, no matter what. Yeah, simple is more, man.
How you met Jarek? He invited you just like that, or there's a story behind that?
To be honest with you, I have met him in the past, in passing, right? Just like casual at the New York Open, actually, because he used to come out to New York quite often. He would train a lot at Marcel Garcia's academy. And I remember he actually competed against one of my students at the New York Open. And it was a close match. And we were just laughing about it yesterday because we were just, he brought back up that memory. But it had a close match. My student ended up winning, but it was a close match. And like during the match, we were laughing because at one point he swept my student. And I was like, cursing, damn it, no, what, and it was just hilarious. But I remember seeing him. I have a good memory when it comes to seeing faces. Sometimes it's hard for me to remember everyone's names when I travel so much, but I can always remember someone's face. And I remember he messaged me a couple years back on Facebook, I believe, asking me if I would be interested in coming out to Poland. I remember looking at his Facebook profile, and I'm like, I know this guy. This guy's really familiar. Like I've seen this guy before, and I took the opportunity. I'm someone who loves traveling, and I of course I try to do my research too before I go to locations I've never been, foreign countries and stuff like that. Where I don't speak the language, where I don't know anybody. So I'm like, I gotta do some research, make sure everything's okay. And I saw when I went on his Facebook, that's when I saw, yeah, I know this guy. I've seen this guy before. Yeah. And then I see that he was at Marcelo Garcia's academy. I'm like, yeah, I've definitely seen this guy in New York before. So I was like, yeah, man, I'll definitely come out 100%. And that's how it happened. That's how it happened. So we have met in the past, and I didn't realize we met in the past until I came out here and he reminded me of that. Like, hey, I fought your student and this and that. I'm like, oh my God, that's right.
Nice. You said you're doing your research about the places you're going to visit.
Yeah.
And how often the reality it's showing up different than the research, than the things you looked up?
You know what? Every time I do some research, yeah, of course, Google and stuff like that. But to me, when I do my research, I try to reach out to people who have been there. Okay. So actually, this is another good part of the story. I have a student of mine, right? And this guy's name is Wojtek. Wojciech is how you pronounce it, right? Yeah. I call him Wojtek. Wojciech Husak is his last name. I believe that's how you pronounce it. But he's actually a second-degree black belt under me.
Okay.
And me and Wojciech have known each other for over 10 years. Long time. And basically, when I used to live in New York, he was this Polish guy who moved over from Poland, moved to New York, and we met each other there in training at different academies and things like that. I used to guest teach at different academies in New York while I was still living in California. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to go out. I don't want to confuse anybody, but I used to live in California, but I'm originally from New York.
JT, they know.
They know, okay.
You are the star of jiu-jitsu. I know it's weird because like the people of jiu-jitsu are regular people. Like, right. Maybe, there are few like who really can feel like stars, like Gordon or Gary. Yeah. And it's normal that you are normal, but you are the star.
Thank you, brother.
The people know you. So,
I appreciate that.
They know where you can. And we will talk about it.
All right, yeah, perfect. So, like I said, I was originally born and raised in New York, but I was living in California, and I would come over to New York to visit family and stuff like that, and I would be a guest instructor at different gyms. And that's how me and Wojciech met. We met at these different gyms I was teaching at. Actually, we first met when I was a brown belt and he was a blue belt. But anyways, fast forward, I moved back to New York, right? And I set to open my own academy. And when I set out to open my own academy, I needed a contractor, someone who knows how to build stuff, right? And who do I know who was a contractor and who worked in construction? Wojciech. So I reached out to him like, hey, man, I'm looking to open an academy. You think you can help me? He goes, absolutely, man. So he actually built my first gym. He built my second gym. Okay. And through all that, he's always had a dream of opening his own academy. So he opened up his own academy, which is a proud affiliate under me, Essential Jiu-Jitsu. I gave him his second-degree black belt not too long ago. And basically what I'm trying to get to is that when Jacek reached out to me about coming to Poland, who did I reach out to?
Yeah,
Wojciech. I'm like, hey, Wojciech, they're inviting me out to Poland. And he goes, where? Told him the place. He goes, no way, man. I'm like, what? He goes, that's where I'm from. He goes, I'm from like 10, 20 minutes away from there.
Really?
I said, no way, man. He goes, yes. He goes, there's no way you're going to go teach a camp and where I'm from. He goes, he couldn't believe it. And I'm like, yeah, this is the guy's info and this and that. He goes, yeah, man. He goes, go. It'll be great. You're going to have a good time. So I reached back out to Jacek. I'm like, I'm in. I'm coming, So, perfect. And that's how it came about. And actually on this trip, Guess who's here with me? Wojciech. He came out. So,
Really?
yeah, he's here. He's he was there. You saw him on the mats.
Okay.
He's wearing a black gi today, but he's here with me this trip, which is really cool. Yeah, and that's how it came about, man. That's how I like to do my research. I try to find friends of mine who've been to these places, and I always ask. To me, that's the best way to get a good feel for where you're going.
If I would be on his place, I would be trolling you as fuck. You know, like I will tell you stuff about white birds on the streets, because at the end you will see that it's everything is normal here. But there are still some, stereotypes about Eastern Europe, about Poland in US or in the West. And
of course,
there are many people who really think it's still like a communism here.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And me coming from America, I always hear about the Eastern Bloc. Like, man, the Eastern Bloc, man, it's dangerous. It's crazy over there. And look, anywhere in the world you go, there's dangerous places, right? Anywhere you go. But when I came here, I'm like, man, this is so beautiful here. It's so peaceful, and like there's like a peaceful vibe when you see the mountains. Like I'm staying at the castle not too far from here. I went to the top of the castle and you see the whole view. I'm like, man, it's just so, the air is fresh, it's so green, and people are friendly. I'm like, this is beautiful out here. So it's you got to go see places for yourself.
Yeah, it's funny because in most situations you would visit like Warsaw or something,
like a bigger city, right?
Bigger city,
yeah.
And you here have like a tradition of showing up in really, really small town on the border, so that gives you probably the different perspective than I don't know some other black belts who maybe teach seminars here.
Right.
So it's really funny. And about this stereotypes, do you remember this movie comedy Eurotrip?
Yeah,
and the Slovakia scene.
Yes, I do remember that movie.
Oh, a penny. I'm gonna buy my own hotel. It's like, it's a little offending,
of course,
in theory.
I can only imagine.
It's funny as hell, and I believe we here in Poland don't have a problem with that particular scene and this particular movie.
Right.
But it's show up the way of thinking of many people. So probably the people think like that. So it's cool that you could experience it. It would be fun also to visit like a
100%.
Bigger city or something like that,
100%. I mean, I always tell this to people. One of the biggest things that one of the things that I love the most about my career and my path and the things I've been so blessed to be able to do is travel the world. There's no better teacher than that, in my opinion. When you get to travel the world and see different cultures and different countries and different cities, big or small, it's amazing, man. It really opens your eyes to the world and to learning new things and understanding different ways of life and different ways of thinking and different foods and different religions and all that good stuff, So yeah, traveling is amazing. If you ever have the opportunity to travel, this is a message to anybody out there. If you ever have the chance to travel or use jiu-jitsu to travel as an excuse, right? Go do jiu-jitsu camps, this and that. Take the opportunity, because it's one of the greatest teachers I've ever had in my life, being able to see the world.
So what would be the most exotic place you visited?
Ooh, exotic place?
Yeah, like really, really not a common place to go.
That's a really good question. I would say not common place to go. That's a really good question. I've been to a lot of different places.
Something like, I don't know, in Asia or something like that.
So I actually went to, at least for me, I don't hear too many people talk about going there because it's so far away, but I went to New Zealand, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool, man. Really far away, though. Super long flight.
Yeah.
But I remember I did a seminar tour out in that area of the world, in that part of the world. Mm-hmm. I remember I went from New York. I flew to Honolulu, Hawaii. Mm-hmm. I spent a few days in Hawaii teaching a few seminars. From Hawaii, went to Australia. From Australia, I spent a few days there, taught a few seminars. From Australia, went to New Zealand. And when I went to New Zealand, I heard that this is the place where they filmed some scenes of, what's that movie?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. There you go.
Most of the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, they were filmed there. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's this huge statue in the airport in Auckland there, and they said this statue was in the movie, and it was really cool. And so I got to see I was in the city of Auckland, and they took me to some, got to see a little bit of the coast, like see the ocean and stuff like that, and it's amazing. It was really cool. Another place that was really cool for me to visit was actually Tahiti. I went to Tahiti after New Zealand. So I've spent like a couple days in New Zealand, then to Tahiti. And from Tahiti, I took a ferry to another island called Mora Mora. It was a small island. And that's where you see a lot of people vacation. Like they have like the over the water bungalows where you can stay. It's beautiful. You can swim with sharks there. But the thing that I thought was really cool was that they have these beaches that are volcanic beaches, right? And the sand is black. And that was something I've never seen before in my life. I've been to many beaches, of course. I got beaches in America. I've been to, the Caribbean islands. I've been to Mexico. Been to a lot of places, right? A lot of tropical places, warm weather, Hawaii. But I've never seen black sand like that. And I'm sure there's black sand in other places, but that was my first time seeing it. And that kind of blew my mind. So that was really cool. That was probably one of the experiences that I treasure the most. And honestly, being here too, right? Being in a small town like this. There's, Yadakusama is only like 5,000 people here. Yeah. Is that correct? Like
probably.
Yeah, something like that, right? Really small town. And even being in a place like this is really cool. I'm originally from a big city, New York City. That's where I'm born and raised. So to come to a place like this is totally opposite of what I'm accustomed to or what I've seen. So I would say places like this or Mora Mora, New Zealand have been really cool places I've been to that are obscure and just like, you don't hear too many people going there because it's just, like you said, you hear mostly about people going to bigger cities and stuff like that. So it was really cool.
You consider yourself a New Yorker?
100%.
Okay.
In and out. I'm a New Yorker, born and raised. I'm actually a New Yorkers, but it's a Puerto Rican that's born in New York. Oh. So there's a lot of Puerto Rican people in New York. So my family is from Puerto Rico, which is an island in the Caribbean. So I also have family from the Dominican Republic, which is another island in the Caribbean. So a lot of Caribbean people live or move to the United States, and they settle in places like New York, Boston. I'm not sure why, because those places get cold, and they're from a tropical island. But that's where my parents moved to go to school and to work. And that's where I was born and raised in New York. So there's a funny joke that when you're Puerto Rican, born and raised in New York, you're a New Yorker. New Yorker, nice. Yeah. So yeah, born and raised in New York, man. I love New York. Like I said, born and raised there. But then after I was done with school, I wanted to go full in 100% the jiu-jitsu path. And I moved to Maryland, which is right outside Washington, D.C., where the White House is, where the president lives of the United States and all that. And I lived there for about 4 or 5 years. And 4 or 5 years there, my time came up, ended there. And then I ended up moving with a bunch of my teammates and friends to California, San Diego, more specifically, which is across the country, all the way on the other side. And I lived there for about 4 or 5 years as well. So I spent like 10 years away from home. And after 10 years away from home, I told myself, I think it's time to go back home and plant my roots and open up my own academy. It's always been a dream of mine since I was a little kid. I told myself as a little kid, I have 3 goals. My 3 goals are these. I want to earn my black belt. I want to become a world champion, and I want to open my own academy. And I'm proud to say that I accomplished all 3 goals that I set for myself as a kid. And of course, there's always more to achieve, right? I'm always working towards achieving more. But I came back to New York, man. All my family lives there for the most part. Mom, dad, brother, sister, friends. And it just felt right to go back home after 10 years.
So the essential jiu-jitsu is always it's said that it's in New Jersey. It's like in state of New Jersey or the city of New Jersey, which is in New York State.
So New York and New Jersey border each other. Yeah, they're both very close to one another. You can drive over.
So it is the state of New Jersey.
New York, actually.
Yeah.
So we're in the state of New York. Okay. But New Jersey is super close. Yeah. Maybe like 15 minutes, 20 minutes away. Very close. So I have students who live in New Jersey who come train. It's all very close to one another. So the state line, like I said, is only a few miles away. But yeah, my Academy of Central Jiu-Jitsu is in the state of New York, and we're in White Plains. That's the name of the city. Okay. Which is a small city outside of New York City.
Is it the White Plains was the place where Harold and Kumar go to? No, White Castle.
White
Sorry.
Castle.
White Castle.
But we do.
okay.
Hey, we do have White Castle there, though.
And which borough you are originally from?
I'm from the Bronx.
You are from the Bronx.
The Bronx. Yes,
Yeah.
I was born in the Bronx. A lot of Puerto Rican people in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. But I was born there. I lived there until I was like 11, 12 years old. And then my parents bought a house outside the city. They wanted to move outside the city, give us more space and, a better, just a better atmosphere, right?
Sure.
Not saying that the Bronx is bad, but
They
you know,
probably achieved some success.
Yeah, of course. They wanted
professional life.
Yeah,
and
100%. So they bought a house in the suburbs, a place called Rockland County, and we moved up there. And yeah, I spent my teenage years there basically, and it was a really cool place. Definitely a kind of a culture shock for me when I first moved there from the city. Super quiet, slower pace, but at my age now, I find it peaceful, and I prefer that. I like the...
it's like a regular path for most of the people, probably.
100%.
When you are young, you want to be in the center of the events, and when you are a little bit older, you are looking for more calm. Now it makes more sense for me, because I was to ask you why move out of New York for jiu-jitsu, where you have such a level of jiu-jitsu in New York. I don't remember if Marcelo already had his school then, but you had Shaolin.
Yeah.
You had like a Renzo.
Yeah.
So why going to Maryland? And we will talk about Maryland and Lloyd Irvine in a while, but why didn't you stay in New York?
So when I first started training in New York, there was very little to no jiu-jitsu, right? There was only a few like purple belts around. My first instructor was actually a blue belt, he was actually my karate teacher in the beginning, right? Marcel Garcia didn't have an academy yet when I first started training. Henzo's was there, but at the time, Henzo's was known more for MMA.
Yeah. The blue basement didn't exist yet.
Yeah, it was more of an MMA gym. And then guys like Shaolin, he wasn't in the city just yet either. So I started training jiu-jitsu around 2004, 2005. So still very early on before the big wave of big jiu-jitsu academies opened up, right? Mm-hmm. And then when it was time to move down to Maryland, this is how it happened. I was training, and I was cross-training in different places in New York and New Jersey, try to find better training partners and things like that. And I was competing a lot too. I was competing in almost every tournament I could compete in back then. And through those tournaments and competing, I met this guy named Jared Weiner, who had an academy in Philadelphia. I mean, he was a black belt who liked to compete, and he is high level, right? Coach and competitor. So I started driving down to Philadelphia like twice a week. And that was like 2 hours each way driving, right? And I would go drive down there twice a week to train with him. And he was Lloyd Irvine's first black belt. So through Jared, I made a connection with Lloyd Irvine. And through these tournaments, I was a young guy. I was 16 years old, purple belt, competing against black belts in local tournaments and, having really good matches with these guys. And I remember one time Lloyd Irvine saw me in one of these tournaments, and he complimented me. He said, "Hey, man, you have really good jiu-jitsu. Keep training hard. If you ever want to come down and train, you're more than welcome to." And of course, at this time, I was training with Jared twice a week. So through that, I made a connection with Lloyd in Maryland. And at a certain point, at brown belt, actually, I got my brown belt from my instructor at the time, who was this guy named Lou Ventilaro in New Jersey. After that, I knew I needed to step my training up if I really wanted to become a world champion one day. So I decided to join Jared's team in Philadelphia, commute there twice a week, do a little bit of training with some friends back home in New York, New Jersey. We had some mats set up, and that's what I did for a while. And at the time, Lloyd was playing with the idea of setting up like a fighter house, like having a house where, you come in and you just focus on training. Mm-hmm. You can stay there and all you do is focus on training. I don't know if you got the idea from like the Ultimate Fighter show, because at that time is when the Ultimate Fighter show kind of started, and they had the fighter house and all that. So it's like similar to that, right? And he put it together. He put this house together, and he invited a bunch of young athletes. He had athletes already there, but he had invited me down, and I took the opportunity. I said, yeah. So I got my black belt from Jared and Lloyd in Philadelphia, and then soon after I got my black belt, I moved full-time to Maryland just so I can focus on training. So a lot of people don't know that about me. I didn't start training full-time until I was a black belt. Up until that point, I was working jobs because I had to make money, right? I had to pay bills. I had to put gas in the car and buy food and things like that. And when Lloyd gave me the opportunity to come down, I saw it as an opportunity to train and focus 100% on becoming a world champion. And I took it. How could I not take it at the time,
Yeah.
So I moved down there, and I got to say, that experience that I had there really shaped me as a competitor mentally and physically, because the training was super hard, super tough. Lloyd is a super tough coach where he pushes you past your limits. So it's what you need. You need that to become a world champion. So I will always be grateful for all the lessons I learned there. Unfortunately, my time came to an end there. Not the way I wanted it to come to an end, but, it is what it is. I'm sure people know about the story and stuff like that, but I made the decision, my story is I made the decision to situate myself where I can focus again on just becoming 100% champion, and that's why I decided to move to California. But again, living in Maryland, living in that fighter house will always be part of my history, part of my story. And I will always credit it to part of my success today. That's, I would never deny that, but I had to do what was best for me at the time so I can focus 100% on becoming world champion. And that's when I decided to move to California.
Yeah, I remember that Lloyd was like the first guy who really had this awareness about the marketing of jiu-jitsu,
Yep.
about showing up some really cool stuff. I would say he was first. I remember this show for brown belts where Keenan was already a star. Keenan was like after a Grand Slam on purple belts. Exactly. He was like untouchable. And there was this competition for money for black belts all over the world, mostly American guy, but there was like a Gary Tonon, nobody knows him. Mm-hmm. There was like this guy, Sean Roberts. Mm-hmm. He had those
calf crunchers.
Calf crunchers. Yeah. There was Luca Ancoretta
from Italy.
From Italy. Yeah. I think it's like the best guy from Italy, like period.
100%.
And from Darrett O'Connell from Ireland, also a star like in Europe then. And I remember you as a senior,
yes,
there, because you was already a black belt. You and Jimmy Harbison.
Harbison was there too,
and you were like the guys, the older guys who had all the laughs about the kids. And there was like this story that they want more money because like Keenan beats everybody. And Gary was the spokesperson for the guys, and you were like, what the fuck, man? Just win with Keenan and you will have your money. But the format was very interesting because those were no limit times bouts. I remember I was getting back to this show like years after, because the quality of the stuff was really, really nice. So, but I remember you and Jimmy, like, like laughing all those guys, laughing also Keenan, and Keenan beating everybody like a monster.
Yeah, man, it was a really cool experience. I remember being a part of it, just like kind of helping out with the event and just watching, and it was really cool to see all these guys from different places come in and compete with one another. There was a lot of characters, man, a lot of funny characters, a lot of funny moments, a lot of laughs. It was a good time. It was a really good time. And like you were saying about Lloyd, doing the fighter house, doing this brown belt kumite, sub only, all these kind of things. I think he was ahead of his time with certain things he was doing. Yeah, it showed, man. Even to this day, like right now, we're talking about the brown belt kumite, right? And that's probably
brown belt kumite,
15 years ago now, maybe even longer. Who knows?
I would say it was like the Danaher Death Squad before the Danaher Death Squad.
100%. it was that brown belt kumite was fun, man. It was fun. And then after the event, everyone was hanging out together. Everyone was having a good time. And it was just one of those experiences I will never forget.
Okay, but we have to talk about elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And the reason you left.
Yeah.
There were some accusations about sexual misbehavior of two guys who trained them, and then about Lloyd himself.
Right.
And I would like to know if that was like a one moment and shock for you and everything like collapsed for you, or it was something off for some time for you.
When everything came about, it was definitely a shock for me, right off the bat. And, unfortunately, when all that news came out and the stories came out, I just knew that I couldn't be in this place. One, because, I didn't, it's never, you never want to be around anything like that, right? And even though that was a place I loved being at, I loved being there. I loved my teammates. I loved the training environment. I loved the coaching. But when something like that comes out, it's going to be, hard to stand by that, and too hard for you to be in a situation like that and focus. But yeah, it was definitely a shock for me, 100%. Like when everything came out, I was like, whoa, like this is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
You wasn't expecting that.
No. And as far as like, was I, like you were just asking me, was it something over time or no, because when I was there, you got to remember, I was super focused on training. Like all I thought about was training. All I did was train, sleep, eat, train, repeat, Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a shock for me when everything came out, and that's when I knew I had to make a decision. And I think it's probably one of the best decisions I've made for myself because, I moved across the country, and that also forced me to learn lessons and grow as a man as well. But yeah, it was definitely a shock for me, and that's what I decided to do. I said I have to, it's going to be hard for me to focus here.
Okay, and did you consider at that point going somewhere else than Atos?
Yeah, 100%. So
what was on the short list?
So on the short, right off the bat, honestly, when I first left Maryland, I moved back. And I'll move back to New York, right? So my mom lives in New York. So my parents are divorced. My parents split. But my mom lives in New York and my dad lives in New Jersey. So when I moved back, I was splitting time between the two. I'll stay a couple nights there, a couple nights here. And I was trying to figure out what was going to be my next step. Now, at this time, Marcel Garcia's academy was up and running, right? And Marcel Garcia at the time was still top dog at ADCC, at Gi Worlds, right? He's a legend, and he was still competing at the time. So I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to stay here in New York. I'm from New York. I can stay with my parents. It'd be a little bit easier for me. I can save a little bit of money by doing so and still focus on training. I can just stay with them. They'll let me stay with them for free. I just got to worry about, buying food and putting gas in the car. And I thought to myself that's what I'm going to do, right? And I sat down with my dad. So my dad is very involved. So is my mom, right, in my life. But my dad was always been very involved with taking me to tournaments, taking me to training practices. He's been involved with my martial arts career my whole life. So he's someone I always talk with about my decisions. Like, hey, what do you think about this or that? And I remember sitting down with him in his apartment in New Jersey and telling him my idea. I was like, listen, I think I'm going to stay here and start training with Marcel Garcia. I'll join the Alliance and join Marcel's academy and continue on my goal of becoming a world champion. Or my friend Keenan keeps messaging me to come to San Diego. Because when we all left, Keenan had asked me, he goes, where would you go train if you could train anywhere you could? I said, man, if I could pick anywhere to train, I'd probably go train at Atos in San Diego with Andre Galvao. Because someone like Andre Galvao is someone I've always looked up to as a competitor. I remember watching him as a white belt, blue belt, and he was someone that stood out to me because...
What year was that?
That I moved to California?
Yeah.
I think 2012.
Okay, so right after ADCC in England.
Yes, and Nottingham.
When Andre get
double gold.
Double gold.
So I was actually mat side for that event because I actually competed in that event. That was my first ADCC in 2011.
Really?
Yep.
I was there, you know?
You were?
Yeah. I went with two of my friends, my coach, one of my coaches, Adam,
Yeah.
and my friend Łukasz. And both guys, Łukasz also had now academy in
Cool.
in around in city next to my city, and it was really cool trip. One of the coolest
Yeah.
the coolest jiu-jitsu trip in my life.
Yeah.
Especially, it happened that I don't know why, but we think everything will be cheaper. And after we land, it's happened that we don't have place to sleep, don't have way to communicate, and we don't have enough money. So Łukasz, who's his coach, was competing.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
He fought Pablo Popovich in his first fight, and he take phone and he called in, Zbyszku, we need help. And we stay on the floor in the Polish guy's room in the competitor's hotel.
Really?
So you going to the elevator and there is Rusomir Pajares. To the lobby and there is Gabi Garcia and Marcelo.
Yeah.
You go to the gym and there is a Victor Estima who start the conversation in Polish because his wife is Polish.
Oh, he can speak Polish.
Yeah,
wow.
a little bit. Both Estima brothers have Polish
Really?
wives. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Good choice.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like so cool trip. And then we had like they get us some ideas to get to after the show to get on the floor. And so I talked with Cobrinha about the decision in his final. It was fantastic, and sorry that I didn't remember that you also competed.
Yeah,
then.
yeah, it was my first one. So I fought Clark Gracie first round, and I beat Clark Gracie, and then the second round I fought Lloyda Vera.
Oh, okay.
And Lloyda Vera beat me.
Leo was in the final.
Yeah, he was in the final against Marcel Garcia.
Yeah,
and he beat me because I pulled guard.
Ooh,
I didn't even know the rules.
So negative point.
I got a negative point, but it was a good experience for me. It was my first one. And, look, that experience led me to winning 2 ADCC titles, and I'm hunting for a third one still. But, yeah, going back to what I was saying, Andre was someone I always looked up to. Always looked up to him. And I remember being Matt's side, watching his double gold run. And I remember telling Keenan, if I could move anywhere, I would probably go to San Diego and train with Andre. And the reason why I said San Diego, because living as a kid in New York, you always see movies, you see California in movies, and you're like, wow, they got palm trees, nice beaches. I want to live there one day. New York we get nice weather, but it gets cold, it rains, it snows, and seeing California in movies as a kid, it looks so cool. So that's what I told him. I said that's where I would go. And then Keenan kept messaging me, or I kept messaging him too. I'm like, hey, how's the training on Atos? He goes, man, it's really good. You should come. I was like, I don't know. I think I'm going to stay here and train with Marcel Garcia. He goes, I think you should come to San Diego. I'm like, I don't have any money. I don't have any plans. I don't know anybody there. I don't know if I could. I'm broke. I don't got any money, man. And he was like, you should come. And I remember telling my dad, I'm like, yeah, but they're also inviting me to go train with Andre Galvao at Atos. And my dad was like, you should move to San Diego. I said, you think so? He goes, you should leave New York. I said, really? He goes, get out, because here you'd be too comfortable. He goes, you need to go somewhere where you don't know anyone, you don't know anything, and it would help you become a man too. Mm-hmm. So I said, wow. I said, okay. So I packed my bag.
How old was you were?
I was maybe 22, 23. 22? Yeah.
Okay.
So I said, okay. So I messaged Andre, because I met Andre at ADCC 2011, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember I was so excited because we got onto the bus to take the athletes to the event, ADCC. And I remember getting onto the bus and seeing Andre on the bus, and I was like, hey, Professor Galvao. He goes, hey, what's up, JT? I'm like, oh my God, he knows my name. and then he said, hey, I'm a big fan of your game. I was like, oh my God, I'm a big fan of your game. I'm like, and I was like, oh my God, this guy.
Instant boner.
Yeah. I'm like, this guy knows who I am. He likes my jiu-jitsu. Oh my God, that's amazing. So I reached out to him, and I said, hey, I would love to move to San Diego. And he said, come to San Diego. I said, okay. So I showed up. I bought a one-way ticket. I showed up with a couple $100 to my name and no plan whatsoever. I had no place to stay. I had nothing. And I figured it out, man. I ended up staying on the floor at people's apartments for a while until a bunch of us got an apartment together, and little by little we built up, And moving to California was one of the best decisions I've ever made for myself. People nowadays, more than ever, are afraid to leave their comfort zone, right? But that's where you're going to make your most growth. That's where you're going to really learn more about yourself and force you to man up, force you to, figure it out and make it happen for yourself. So moving out to California did exactly that. And I'm glad I made that decision, because it's again, all these experiences I've had in life throughout my years have helped me become who I am today. And San Diego is a big part of that.
San Diego is another savage place for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Atos, of course, Legion, Kenan's Legion, but there are still few really good academies, and the big names that also had academies in San Diego, when San Diego isn't in the, of course, US perspective, such a big city.
No, it's not. It's a small city.
It's really nice. It's really cool. I was there also.
Yeah.
I was in Atos. I didn't train because trip to the US is already expensive.
Expensive, yeah.
So it would be cool to train in Atos, but probably I will get to some random, let's say, group. I wouldn't train with the pros.
Yeah.
So I just went there to see this, to make a photo.
Cool.
But San Diego was really nice. On the other hand, I need to say about this California weather.
Yeah.
And everybody says California weather is the best. It's always sunny.
Yeah.
And I was there in February.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that nice.
No.
San Diego was good.
Yeah.
That was, but in LA, we were really cold, and we were using our jackets, and we are from Poland. We are used to it.
Yeah, of course.
And Californians, on the other hand, I would think they will be even more cold because we are prepared. We are from Europe. And they didn't give a fuck. They have a
shorts,
hoodie and flip flops.
Yeah.
And it was, what the fuck?
It's a different kind of cold weather out there. And it's true. Everyone says, "Oh, California's the best weather." It's nice weather, right? But even I was in San Diego just a few weeks ago. It was a little cold. It gloomy a little bit too. And look, it's nice, but what was I going to say? It's a different kind of cold though, because it's you get that wind chill from the ocean, right? And it's it's different. It's a little bit different. And but yeah, I agree with you, man. It's awesome. It's awesome out there, but the weather definitely is not like what you see in the movies, But it's nice though. I'm not gonna lie, it is nice. But I like New York. I like New York weather better. I like all 4 seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. New York still have 4 seasons, and the nice summer and really cozy winters.
Yeah.
I think you go a little bit north, or Massachusetts, Boston, and then it's starting to get really tough.
Really?
The winters,
right?
100%.
100%. But yeah, I found myself missing the 4 seasons when I was living in California. I remember my first year in California, I was like, oh man, I missed the fall. I missed the winter. I missed the spring, because it's kind of the same all year around there. But yeah, man.
Yeah, and New York as a, a capital of the world, let's say.
Yeah.
And they make immortal every weather, in movies and stuff like that. You know the fall in New York. Even I live in Poland, but I know it from Hollywood. From movies.
Of course.
Fall, winter. The Rockefeller Plaza, ice skates, everything like that. So I believe that you could find something fun every time in New York in case of weather, and not only the weather.
100%. 100%. There's always something to do in New York.
What? Because everybody knows California and New York. And I have to tell, I am a little bit freaked about US.
Yeah.
About the history, geography, society, culture. It's my thing.
Yeah.
I like to read about it, hear about it. I hear a lot of podcasts, reading a lot of books. Even some time ago, I would say I could name every capital of every state if you ask me. Now probably I will make some mistakes, but we can play.
Yeah, that's cool.
but most people don't know that much about the, Midwest or
Right.
Pacific Northwest or stuff like that. What would you recommend to see in the USA for the people who maybe not know about it so much that it's not obvious?
Oh, that's
A state or a city or a place or a national park, but not obvious, not the first pages of the newspaper.
I would say this is one that people don't talk about a lot. Upstate New York.
Okay.
Upstate New York is beautiful, man. When people think of New York, people think of what? New York City.
New York
and that's
City.
it. Like when you say New York, it's like, oh, New York City? New York City is huge, but it's just a small part of the state of New York, right? If you go to upstate New York, it's beautiful. Mountains, lakes, beautiful trails where you can go hiking and camping. Really great outdoor things to do in the state of New York. Like there's a place that me and my wife love to go. It's called Lake George. It's like 3 hours from where we live up north.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so peaceful. You're in the mountains, in the woods, lakes, it's a great place. So I think people are surprised about that. People who don't know, people maybe who are not from the States, people who are not from, even people who are from the States, when I tell them about it, someone from California, when I tell them, yeah, we got great mountains and trails and hiking and woods and this and that, they're like, what? Really? New York does? I'm like, yeah, there's a lot more to New York, a lot more than just New York City. So that's one place that I think people overlook sometimes, don't even think about, or don't even know. They don't even know about it, right?
People don't know that New York State is such a big state.
Yeah, it's a
and
huge state.
Bordering with Canada, right?
Yeah.
I spotted the situations like people looking for the map, and it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
New York.
Yeah, like I have an affiliate academy in Buffalo, New York.
Mm-hmm.
And in Buffalo, New York, it's pretty north, very north.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see Canada right over the side. It's you can see it right over the water. Like, oh, there's Canada right there. So yeah, like even places like Niagara Falls, like that's a huge place in New York, and people are mind blown that's even in New York. It's like, whoa, I thought New York was only a city.
I have to check the Niagara Falls someday because I always like this is this place that when I see it on the movies, on the photos, I think it's not that big of a deal, I think.
Yeah.
Like with all my love, with
Yeah,
all
yeah.
my interesting, and I of course want to see
Of course,
it,
yeah.
but I think it would be a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, if you're traveling all the way from Poland, for example, I'm like, yeah, there's other cooler things to see, I would say. It is cool to see, but, then you got other things throughout America, like the Grand Canyon. That's really cool to see.
Was there?
That's like a sight to see. Like, whoa, like this is crazy,
What was very, very impressive for me?
What's that?
Hoover's Dam.
Yeah, that's really cool too.
It was like really gigantic and impressive, and this like a epic.
Yeah, I agree.
Like that. And in the Grand Canyon, my wife called it the best. It's like a hologram. I can't believe it's real.
Right, yeah.
It's like a hologram. It's not real. Let's go.
Yeah.
What you're talking about.
Yeah.
But there is some truth in that.
Yeah, 100%, man. I agree. Yeah, it's beautiful, man. There's a lot of beautiful things to see. I've never been actually, but I want to check out like Yellowstone National Park.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was saying earlier in our conversation, now that I'm a little bit older, I enjoy this peacefulness of, space and quiet and peaceful and fresh air. And I've been more, interested in seeing places like Wyoming, Montana, Yellowstone National Park, Utah. I want to see places like that. I think it'd be really cool. So that's on my list right now as places to check out. And actually Lake Tahoe, which is also in California.
Yeah.
All these places where it's outdoors and fresh air and just beautiful natural beauty in nature. So yeah, there's tons of places to check out, but those places are known, like Yellowstone and Lake Tahoe, but people don't know about upstate New York. Upstate New York is also very, very beautiful.
Yeah. East Coast is something like I'm really hope that I will be in US many times still.
That'd be great, man.
Yeah, I have to find a way to make the podcast, profitable.
Yeah, of course.
And then definitely I would visit like the different areas, like Pacific Northwest. I really want to see the South, like deep South.
Yeah.
The biblical belt.
Yeah.
And try soul food.
Yeah.
And there is a great book, Deep South, about. I don't remember now the name of the author, but it is really, really deep inside the mind of the people. And for many people, that could be not interesting because it's like a poor region of the
country.
The country. But I would like to see it. Really. I used to say that my dream trip. You have 50 states. You have around 50 weeks in a year. So 1 week in every state.
Wow.
But after time, I think that's not really a good idea, and it's gonna be better to find those 10, 12 areas and focus to see every state. Like there is nothing in Wyoming as far as I know.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. Actually, I drove across the country twice. With my wife, actually. We drove to California and we drove back to New York when we moved back to New York. So that was really a cool way to see the country.
Did you switch the route?
I did. So going from the east to the west, I drove through the northern part of the country. And then going from west to north, west to east, I went through the southern part of the country. And it's very different from one another, man. That's for sure. Very different. But it was cool to see. That's if I can recommend something, that's a really cool way to see the country too. Get like one of those RVs, like the camper trucks that you drive around, and just drive across the country and stop at a few spots and see what they got what they have to offer, and keep it moving.
JT, let's get back to jiu-jitsu.
Okay, let's do it.
Worlds 2023.
Yes.
Great fight with Nathan.
Thank you.
My first thought, did you have like a proper camp, the real preparations, or it was, I'm in the shape, I train every day, I'm going, I will try, or there was like a camp, a preparation, you were going like a,
Yeah, full camp. We had a full camp,
okay.
a good camp. I wasn't sure if I was doing the Worlds up until the point where we started the camp. I was like, I haven't competed in Worlds in a couple years. There's no secret. Like there was a couple years where I didn't compete because of COVID, right? And I think that kind of threw off my rhythm and my momentum I had when I was winning back-to-back ADCC titles. I won a Pan Am title, my second Pan Am title, had a really good momentum going for myself. And then the pandemic happened and I stopped competing for like 2 years. I had to focus on how I was going to keep the gym open and this and that. And, for a while my gym was closed. Training wasn't the same. Some people didn't want to train. Some people wanted to train. So it was like a rough time. But fast forward, we reopened, we're doing well again, and now we're getting back to competing on a regular schedule, right? And I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the Worlds this year or not. Let's see. And then I decided to jump into it. So I did the whole camp with my students. And I jumped in. I felt good. I know I could compete better. No discredit to Nathan or whatsoever. He's someone who competes a lot right now. He's
young, he's hungry.
Yeah, he's a young competitor. He's silver medal at Euros, silver medal at Brazilian Nationals. But I know I'm better than that. And like I said, I'm not taking anything away from him. But I think for me right now, I just need to continue competing just to get myself back in that rhythm, back in that mindset, and just back to it. And that's what I'm looking forward to doing. I want to give myself another couple years of competing. I am getting older. I'm turning 34 in September, but there's something still inside of me that wants to keep going. So it's about getting that rhythm again, and hopefully I see him again. That's all I'm gonna say.
I have to tell you that we have like in our team that inside like competition. About the scoring.
Yeah.
And I was going through the lightweight schedule and was, fuck it, JT will do this.
Yeah,
I will go with JT.
Thank you, man.
And then I was, okay, Nathan in the first. That's gonna be tough.
Yeah. It's now they're doing the rankings, right? Which, look, I respect that they're doing the rankings. I think it's pretty cool. At the same time, it gets people to compete more and stuff like that to get the ranking points. So I knew I was going to draw someone first round that's been competing a lot more than I have, and that's exactly what happened. But I mean, that's not an issue for me. I'm down to compete against the best guys in the world. First fight, last fight, it doesn't matter to me.
It was close.
Yeah, it was close. I think to me though, I just got to compete more. I need to get myself a little bit more out there, a little bit more comfortable again competing on the big stage, and I'm going to do exactly that. I know I still got more left in the gas tank. And I had a full camp, felt good. Just I think for me, it's just about getting more momentum going again.
Sorry,
no worries.
I have iPhone from few days because I smashed my Android phone.
And
I
nice.
Don't even know how to
use it. Still learning.
Welcome to the reject the connection.
Welcome to the Apple world, man.
I don't want.
You got the MacBook too, I see.
It's my friend give it to me.
Okay.
I would say MacBooks are okay.
Yeah.
I used to, in one of my jobs, I was work on MacBook, and it was really quick to learn it, and it was nice.
Yeah.
And I like MacBooks. I hate iPhones. I can't. No, I want the Android phone.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. If you get back to regular competing, then everything, of course, could happen. Really close fight with Nathan. Nathan, I believe, lost to Jonathan.
Jackson, the guy.
Okay.
He lost to Jackson, the guy, afterwards.
Yeah. That was like us. The whole Jackson was I would say surprise.
Yeah,
he was silver medalist. He lost to Jonathan.
He took third. He lost him in the semifinals.
Okay.
Yeah, he took third. Yeah, he did well. Listen, all these guys are. It's everyone's training hard. Everyone's getting better. Everyone's improving, and that's the cool thing about competing at these tournaments, right? You never know whose day it's gonna be. It's the way it goes,
Okay, next big thing for Essential. Fionn get back and gets what's hers.
She got her second world title. I mean, I'm so impressed with her. She's such a hard worker in the room. She trains hard. She's very coachable. She competes hard too. Like, you see her when she's out there. She's of course there's technique and this and that, but she fights with her heart. She gives it all. And that's exactly what you want out of your athletes, and I'm so happy for her. She deserves all the success that's coming her way. Hard work works. That's plain and simple.
Yeah, it's funny. It's happened to that the women's categories are now very, very enjoyable, and it's worth to watch it.
Oh yeah.
I remember last ADCC, I was. Before with the women categories, I checked something, but not much.
Right.
And now I checked everything.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It was so exciting. It happened more, more.
There
was more points, more little mistakes. Who someone take it and then make their own mistakes. And it's fun to watch on the lower belts.
100%. I mean, the women. In jiu-jitsu, the women categories are just getting better and better and deeper with what's the word I'm looking for? With talent, right? There's so many more women coming over into the sport now, which is really cool to see, and it's exciting. I remember the last Grand Prix that IBGF did. The most exciting matches on that card were the women. I remember I was in Oklahoma. I have an affiliate in Oklahoma. We were there, and after I did like how I'm doing out here. I did a 3-day camp over there. Shout out to my guy Jackson out there. But the most exciting part of that card that night were the women matches. So it was cool to see. It's really cool to see, and it's cool to be able to work with someone like Fionn who's on the forefront of the women's jiu-jitsu. She's one of the best, and I think forever she will go down in history as one of the best jiu-jitsu fighters in the world, right? She's ADCC world champion, 2-time black belt world champion with the gi now. Yeah. I mean, she's done it all.
Also that she has such a tough competitor in Luisa Monteiro.
Oh, yeah.
In this category. She lost in the semifinal.
To Brianna St. Marie, I think.
Yeah, this time that wasn't a final, but still, I believe that makes her want to get more and more and more success to fight with her.
100%.
Maybe there is someone from Essential you would like to shout out, maybe some brown belts or purple belts. I know that it's tricky to say too much good things about the guys who are on
the up and up. I won't say any specific names just because I have too many names to name, right? I have a big group of young, hungry competitors on the rise. I also have a really big group of master competitors too who are also hungry and on the rise too. And I also have a big group of kids who are also hungry on the rise. So, instead of just naming one name, I always want to give a shout out to the entire Essential team because, I've built my career off competing, right? That's how I was able to build my gym. I was able to make money and build a brand for myself through competing and becoming world champion, this and that. And I think naturally when I do that, I'm going to attract people to the academy who may want to compete one day, right? And if they don't want to compete, eventually when they hang around me long enough, they get the bug. It's like, I want to try it. I want to get out there. And I never tell my students that it's mandatory to compete. I always say, look, if you want to get better, if you want to see where your level's at, compete. That's the best way to do it, right? You're going to see. It's going to give you a good benchmark. Did you get smashed? Did you win? Did you not feel good? Like, it's going to give you a good idea of where you're at, right? It's going to give you a good sense of direction and where to go as far as improving.
It's also a camaraderie thing, going together to the competition. And I think about people who hesitate a little bit, the great thing is to organize time to time those little matches on training sessions.
Yes.
Like, when you judge it, you give the points, the people shouting.
Yeah. Super fights.
It is like really, I remember I was shocked when first time my coach decided let's do this, Matt, Mateusz and someone, right? I was already like a competitor. I compete a lot on white and blue belt.
Nice.
So it wasn't like that I didn't know how to.
What belt are you now?
I'm a fresh brown belt.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's, like I believe it's more like years on the mats, but okay, I won't be false modest. I am a brown belt.
Nice.
I deserve it. And I believe this match was when I was purple belt, and it was like after that, like, whoa, I do sparring sessions like, every training, 2 times a week, only sparring sessions, every Saturday, every Wednesday, 8 fights, 9 fights. I know this, and this is the guy I know I fight. This is my coach who, it's not like a referee from IBJJF.
Yeah.
And still it was like so much more than a normal sparring.
Yeah, of course.
So for like a white belt, it's like a perfect way to introduce him to the competition. Do you use sometimes these methods? Yeah?
100%. I think it's a great way to get people accustomed to what they're going to experience when they go compete, right? When you go compete, you see people that you don't know shouting for you, against you, coaching you, yelling, there's a lot of activity going on. So I think when you do like those little super fights in the gym, especially for the groups who want to compete, I think it's important. I think it's really good.
JT, what you are doing when you don't train? What's your hobby outside of jiu-jitsu? I heard from Kamil Drukała, Polish black belt.
Yep.
He's here. He met you like last time you were here. Yeah, that you are a gamer.
Yeah, I am. Especially during the pandemic, I really went all in. I got a custom PC built.
Ooh,
I went all in, man.
Not like a PS.
No PlayStation, no Xbox. I have a PC, a gaming PC.
Okay.
And yeah, man, I went all in. I used to, during the pandemic, Call of Duty Warzone blew up, like got so popular. And I've always played video games, right? Growing up as a kid, always played it. Mortal Kombat, NBA 2K, Call of Duty, Super Mario Brothers, Smash Brothers, everything. I played all those games growing up as a kid. And then Warzone came out, and it was a really cool way to, do something to pass the time and to stay connected with your friends, because it was so cool to play with your friends on a team and stuff like that. So I did that with students of mine. We all went all in and played Warzone so much. I don't play as much anymore, just because I'll be honest with you, they released a new Warzone 2, and I don't want to say I hate it, but I just dislike it. Let's use that word. I dislike it. Like I miss the old movement, the mechanics, and just the overall gameplay. I think was so much better. And I know people are like, oh, this means you suck at the game, or but you can't adjust or whatever. I'm like, listen, I don't care. You play whatever you want to play. I play what I want to play. So yeah, I just miss playing the old one. And for a while, they still kept the smaller map, even though they released a new one. Now they just took everything away from the old map, right? I'm talking specifically Rebirth for those Warzone players out there.
Okay.
If you guys know what I mean. You guys know what I mean. They still have Caldera though. I can still play Caldera, but I remember when Caldera came out, I hated that too. I thought the map was just terrible. They had something so good in Verdansk. The Verdansk map, I think, in my opinion, was so good. And I remember people complaining, like, we need something new, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, shut up. And of course, they gave us something new, and it was terrible, in my opinion. And, it is what it is now. And, obviously, too, I got back to training full-time, running my academy full-time, so I'm busier now, which is good. I'm glad. But even on the weekends, I still game. I still enjoy it. Actually, before I came out here to Poland, a lot of my friends and teammates and students were telling me, you got to get on Apex Legends. That's a better battle royale. So I actually downloaded it before I came out here. I haven't got a chance to get on it yet. Because I'm someone that when I do something, I want to figure it out, everything. I want to learn everything, all the mechanics, all the movement, everything.
Okay.
So I say, when I get back from Poland, I'll dive into this.
Okay. About Call of Duty, I remember I used to play with 3 of my friends that was like the first release of Call of Duty, or the Call of Duty 2 maybe, and we played on a local network. We had like the small street. Those were my neighbors, my guys. And we were playing, 2 teams, 2 guys. We were taking some bigger map like Hurtgen, the winter map, and we play only with sniper rifles.
Nice.
And it was two sniper teams, hunting for each other.
Nice.
And it was especially good where it was really winter
outside here.
Outside, and it was so climactic.
That's really cool, man. That's really cool.
So FPS, it's your junior.
I mean, the first person shooters I love,
something other, maybe some games like I'm like third person perspective guy.
Okay, cool.
Like the game of my life is like first Mafia.
Okay.
I love GTA. GTA in Poland.
Yeah.
So it was weird to say GTA for me.
How do you say it in Poland?
GTA.
That sounds cool, man. I kind of like that.
Like
GTA.
People, I play on console and not very often. Also, I have like one time a year, 2 times a year. I have like this period when I play for 2-3 weeks, like a psycho. Then I go through some game. I end it and now I can wait another half year.
Right.
But GT, like people play, I don't know, FIFA. Like, okay, I will play 1 match or 2, or they play, I don't know, Mortal Kombat, like that. I have like GTA 5, fully at the end of the game with all the money, all the stuff. I can like for half an hour going through, make some madness in the city, run out for police, and it's like for me like matching FIFA, you know.
That's funny. Yeah.
So it's my way to.
That's cool, man.
To play, and so maybe something that still you have like a sentiment other than shooters.
I used to play GTA too a lot as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to play all the time, man.
Yeah.
NBA 2K. I always enjoyed NBA 2K. But I gotta say, my main game was Call of Duty.
Okay.
I've always been a big Call of Duty fan.
Is it like if you are a Call of Duty fan, you are like a Battlefield hater? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 100%, man. But now my mind is open to new opportunities, right? Because I just dislike this new one so much, man. Look, I downloaded Apex. Like I went to like a competitor, battle royale game. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when I get back home. If I like it that much, maybe I'll start streaming again. I remember I started streaming on Twitch when I used to play a lot of Verdansk, and people were actually enjoying the stream, and I was making some money off the stream. It was actually not. Yeah, it was nice, man. It was
like
cool.
Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll get back to it, man. But yeah, man, if Warzone or the Call of Duty team is listening to this, please bring back Warzone 1, man, because Warzone 2 is trash.
Camille said that after this last time you were there, you were talking about maybe play each other a little bit. Something it didn't happen. I will make
it happen. We gotta make it happen. We gotta make it happen.
So tomorrow after the sparring, you could we spar in jiu-jitsu. Now we will
spar in Warzone.
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
Okay, JT. Since we have to take you to the dinner,
let's do it.
Jarek will kill me, but I have one more question.
Sure,
something like
Go
I
for it.
ask every my guest.
Okay.
If someone calls you and asks for a private lesson,
sure,
for someone who you be like excited to have like the private lesson with that person. I mean, no like a fighter, but like a famous person. I don't know, actor, singer, writer, whatever. You would be like, excited to meet him, to talk to him, to show him jiu-jitsu, to show him the thing you love. Who would you like to ask you about the private lesson?
Oh, that's a really, really good question. Oh, man. That's a good question, man. Who would I be excited? Let's see. I think someone I would like to kind of teach, and because look, because like you said, when you teach someone a private lesson, you get to know that person a little bit, right? You get to hang out with them and talk to them for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it would probably have to be someone like, oh man, that's tough. Someone like Action Bronson.
Action Bronson.
You know Action Bronson?
Yeah, I know him.
I think he seems like a really cool person. Like real funny, real down to earth. And I've seen that he does a little bit of jiu-jitsu sometimes here and there, and he's gotten into fitness and all that.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool to get on the mats with him one day. I think it'd be kind of cool to, teach him and kind of talk to him a little bit and get to know him a little bit more, because he seems like a really cool person to talk to.
And maybe then have a track with him.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You never know. We'll see.
You believe you can sing? You have that talent for singing, or
of course, like man. Singing, dancing, acting. I can do it all, baby. Okay. I can do it all. Hollywood. Give me the call whenever you need.
I ask because I always saying that if I have like a music ear, and a skill, I would be a star.
Of course,
but I don't have.
Listen, I think you are already a star.
I have like a record one rap song.
You do?
Yeah, it was like a joke. Yeah, it was like a joke. It was like a diss for our friend, because he used to. We call it zamulanie. Zamulanie. It's like when your friend is, let's go, let's have some fun, let's go to do something, and he was like, no, I will stay at home for no reason.
Just doesn't want to go out.
Yeah, and it was like really regular for him. So at one day we get pissed, and one of our guys at this time, he was a producer, so he choose some track from his hard drive, and we get to make a diss.
That's
for
funny,
this guy.
man.
But it was like for him, for the guy who recorded with me, it was like a painful experience. Because after like 2 bars, I was out of the beat. Like
I'm done.
Yeah, but in the end, it's great.
It's great.
It's great.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool.
No, so yeah. Okay, Action Bronson. Yeah, JT, you are the star of jiu-jitsu. If Action Bronson is really doing jiu-jitsu, it's really easy to make it happen.
I know. I gotta make it happen, man. I gotta make it happen. We'll make it happen one day. I believe it. I believe it.
I will tag him in story.
That'd be awesome,
with
dude.
This podcast.
Dude, that'd be awesome. Please do.
I will make it happen.
Please do. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
JT, it was a huge honor for me, as would
Bernardo
Faria would say. And you're a really cool guy. It's really obvious that you have this American vibe, this smile, this approach that even when I see when you like talk to somebody and someone say hello and you just don't say hello, but what's up?
Yeah,
you smile. It's really cool.
Thank
I love
you.
it about the Americans. Not everybody like this. We are a little bit different in Poland. We are cool, but after a while we have to know
get
somebody.
to know you a little bit more. Yeah.
You are like up to front. You are happy and smiley, and I love it. And hope that you will show up in Poland again and again and again. Maybe,
I'll be back.
Maybe to the north, to my city.
That'd be cool.
I would be keen on. We have like a big academy in the north of Poland, so
that'd be really cool, man. Let's make that happen too.
We will.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
And let's go for dinner.
Let's do it. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. That was great, man. That was fun, man.
Dzięki za wysłuchanie odcinka do końca. Jeśli macie jakieś pytania do gościa lub do mnie, piszcie śmiało w komentarzach na Facebooku, Instagramie lub YouTubie. Oczywiście zachęcam również do szerowania materiału. Os i do usłyszenia.